Let's talk about America's most dramatic on-again, off-again relationship. One that's less about romance and more about global politics, the United States and UNESCO. This partnership has seen more twists and turns than a primetime TV drama, with decades of tension, reconciliation, and sudden walkouts. It's a saga that keeps the world guessing, and every new season brings a fresh plot twist. Just when you think they're finally done with the drama, the US threatens to leave again. In July 2025, Donald Trump, never one to shy away from bold declarations, announced that if he returns to the White House, the US will pull out of UNESCO by the end of 2026. This isn't just a political soundbite, it's a move that could shake up international cooperation on education, science, and culture. The world watches, wondering if this is another bluff or the real deal. But here's the kicker, this isn't new. The US just rejoined UNESCO in 2023 after a 5-year absence, hoping to rebuild bridges and restore its influence. Yet barely 2 years later, the threat of another exit looms large. It's a pattern: leave, return, threaten to leave again. Each cycle leaves allies confused, and critics skeptical about America's commitment to global institutions. It's a diplomatic soap opera. Break up, make up, repeat. Behind the scenes, diplomats scramble to manage the fallout while the rest of the world wonders what's next. Is this just political theater, or does it signal deeper issues in America's approach to international cooperation? Why does this keep happening? Is it about money, politics, or something more fundamental? And what does this endless cycle say about America's evolving role on the world stage? Some see it as a sign of US skepticism toward multilateral organizations, while others argue it's about asserting national interests in a changing global order. To understand the drama, we need to look at what UNESCO actually does. From protecting World Heritage sites to promoting education and cultural exchange, UNESCO's mission is ambitious, but it's also controversial, with critics calling it slow, bureaucratic, and sometimes political. So why does the US keep storming out only to come back again? What's at stake for both sides? Is UNESCO a bloated bureaucracy weighed down by politics, or is it a vital global forum that the world, and the US, can't afford to ignore? As we unpack the baggage of this complicated relationship, we'll explore the real reasons behind the breakups, the makeups, and what it all means for the future of international cooperation. Before the breakup drama, what is UNESCO? Founded in 1945, UNESCO's mission is to build peace through education, science, and culture. Think textbooks, temples, and tech ethics, not tanks. It designates World Heritage sites like the Grand Canyon and the pyramids, but also sets global standards on issues like AI ethics and press freedom. With 194 member states, it's the UN's project manager for humanity, promoting literacy, protecting biodiversity, and fighting disinformation. Its Paris HQ is famous for bureaucracy, but its work is global and ambitious. UNESCO tries to prevent conflict by fostering cooperation and understanding. It's a beautiful idea, so naturally it's become a political football. Let's see how the US keeps kicking it. The US-UNESCO relationship is a roller coaster, marked by dramatic exits and hopeful returns. For decades, America's presence at UNESCO has been a barometer of its global priorities and domestic politics, reflecting shifting winds in Washington and the world stage. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan made headlines by pulling the United States out of UNESCO. The administration accused the organization of mismanagement, corruption, and what it called an anti-Western, anti-Israel bias. This move sent shockwaves through the international community, signaling a new era of American skepticism toward multilateral institutions. For nearly 2 decades, the US remained on the sidelines, watching as UNESCO continued its work in education, science, and culture. Then, in 2003, President George W. Bush reversed course. The US rejoined, hoping to shape the organization from within and reassert American influence in global affairs. This return was seen as a gesture of renewed commitment to international cooperation after the turbulence of the previous years. But the relationship remained fragile. In 2011, UNESCO admitted Palestine as a member state, triggering a decades-old US law that automatically cut off American funding. Without its largest financial backer, UNESCO struggled, and US influence within the organization quickly faded. The move highlighted how domestic legislation can have far-reaching effects on international engagement. In 2017, President Donald Trump made the split official, announcing a full withdrawal. The administration cited continued anti-Israel bias and inefficiency, echoing the criticisms of the Reagan era. The decision was controversial, sparking debate at home and abroad about America's role in the world and the value of international organizations. Fast forward to 2023. With global power dynamics shifting and China's influence on the rise, President Joe Biden led the US back into UNESCO. The move was driven by concerns that America's absence was leaving a vacuum for rivals to fill, especially in areas like technology standards and cultural heritage. Rejoining was seen as a strategic necessity in a rapidly changing world. Now, in 2025, the cycle threatens to repeat. Former President Trump, once again a major political force, is threatening another exit. His supporters argue that UNESCO still doesn't serve American interests, while critics warn that another withdrawal would further erode U.S. leadership on the world stage. This pattern, leaving to protest, rejoining to influence, and then threatening to leave again, has become a defining feature of America's relationship with UNESCO. Each administration seems to use membership as a tool for signaling its values, both to the world and to voters at home. Underneath it all, the cycle reveals deep political divides within the United States. Debates over UNESCO are really debates about America's place in the world, the role of international cooperation, and the balance between national interests and global responsibilities. And so, the world keeps spinning. Whether the U.S. is at the table or not, global challenges continue, and the question remains, will America lead, follow, or walk away? Why does the U.S. keep threatening to leave? Critics say UNESCO is biased against Israel, wastes money, and is mired in bureaucracy. They argue U.S. dollars fund an organization that criticizes American values and allies. The Trump camp frames withdrawal as America first, rejecting globalist agendas and protecting sovereignty. Supporters of leaving claim the U.S. loses little influence and saves money by walking away. For them, it's a principled stand against a flawed institution. But there's a strong case for staying. Leaving means losing influence. Other powers, especially China, fill the void and shape global standards. The Biden administration rejoined to counter this, arguing U.S. values should guide global rules on tech, education, and culture. Critics of withdrawal say fighting bias is more effective from within, and UNESCO has made progress under new leadership. Programs on Holocaust education and combating anti-Semitism are examples of positive change. Constant exits damage America's reputation as a reliable partner. Membership dues are a small price for global leadership and credibility. Staying in means shaping the future, not just watching from the sidelines. Beyond politics, UNESCO's daily work is global and practical. In Iraq, it's rebuilding Mosul's historic sites and training locals to restore their heritage. It runs tsunami warning systems, manages thousands of schools, and protects cultural sites in war zones like Ukraine and Yemen. UNESCO set the first global AI ethics standard, guiding tech development with human rights in mind. Its network of biosphere reserves and geoparks supports sustainable development and scientific research. From girls' education in Africa to press freedom worldwide, UNESCO's impact is broad and lasting. This work continues regardless of U.S. membership. The real question, does America want a seat at this table? The ongoing saga between the United States and UNESCO is about far more than just culture or international bureaucracy. It's a reflection of America's own internal debate about its identity and its place in the world. Every decision to join, leave, or rejoin UNESCO is a statement about how the U.S. sees itself, as a leader shaping global norms, or as a nation determined to stand apart and protect its own interests above all else. This isn't just a story about an agency in Paris. It's a mirror held up to the American soul, revealing the tensions between engagement and isolation, cooperation and sovereignty. Is true strength found in standing apart from the world, drawing clear lines and setting your own rules? Or is it found in rolling up your sleeves, sitting at the table, and helping to shape the world's future from within? These are the questions that echo through every debate about UNESCO, and they're the same questions that have shaped American foreign policy for decades. The arguments for leaving UNESCO are not without merit. Critics point to bias, inefficiency, and political maneuvering that sometimes seem to overshadow the agency's mission. They argue that American values and interests are too often sidelined and that bureaucracy can stifle real progress. But the costs of absence are just as real, if not more so. When the U.S. leaves, it leaves behind more than just an empty chair. It gives up its voice in critical conversations about education, technology, and cultural heritage. Others step in to fill the void, writing the rules and setting the standards that will shape the next generation, without American input or influence. The cycle of quitting and rejoining UNESCO isn't really about the agency itself. It's a reflection of shifting tides in U.S. domestic politics, where each administration uses UNESCO as a symbol, either of global engagement or of resistance to international pressure. The back and forth reveals deep divisions at home about what kind of country America wants to be. For some Americans, UNESCO is a flawed but essential platform, a place where the U.S. can promote its values and help solve global problems. For others, it's a symbol of unwanted globalism, a threat to national sovereignty, and a distraction from domestic priorities. These competing visions fuel the ongoing debate. Lost in all the political noise is the agency's real work, building schools in war-torn regions, preserving World Heritage sites, and supporting scientific research that benefits everyone. These efforts rarely make headlines, but they have a lasting impact on communities around the globe, and on America's reputation as a force for good. As the US once again threatens to walk away, the world is left to wonder, is this the final breakup, or just another dramatic pause in a long, complicated relationship? Allies and rivals alike watch closely, knowing that America's choices will shape not just UNESCO, but the future of international cooperation itself. And if America keeps walking out, turning its back on the table where the world's future is debated, will there be a seat left when it finally decides it wants back in? Or will the world have moved on, writing new rules without the United States in the room?